It is the morning after. We've just returned yesterday from 4 days of cold and wind and dust and madness, and I have questions. How's it, jokes? My name is Diff, as in differential, that thing in the back end of the truck with the wheels on it. And I am just a stupid old man. If you've been around the block a little, you'll know how I currently feel. After all the highs of prepping the trucks for the journey and road tripping through some beautiful scenery. And parties and burnouts and drifting and drag racing. On that dry lake bed at Pandemonium, it is now back to reality. Too much eating, too much drinking, too much silly behavior. Windburnt, sunburnt, dust everywhere, no showers for 4 days. Hello Earth, I'm back down here. Why do we do this? It was a dusty affair, make no mistake. I mean, there is now dust in places where there's not even places. I showered last night, man, and fresh, crisp bed sheets. That was heaven, I slept like a baby. So yes, let's face the aftermath of our Pandemonium adventure and get back into the swing of things. The only breakage on the whole trip, the pin here on this hinge came out and got lost, but we could fix that with a piece of wire next to the road, no problem. We took a lot of Ford spares with, some of them tied there to this bomber seat, but not a single Ford repair was required. And in here, apart from the fact that everything is covered in dust, this old 4-banger is as trusty and reliable as anything. I'll drive old Flytrap anywhere in the country tomorrow. Maybe I'll add some side windows first. That was another story when it's cold. Because my hands are freezing because I don't have a freaking window. Although I must say, the sound of that little 2.4 litre Nissan 4-banger just doesn't want to gel with me. Driving through those passes and you hear the 4-cylinder echoing off the mountains, just can't get to grips with it. So the urge to fit another 4 cylinders for a total of V8 is currently very overwhelming. So who knows what will happen in the future. P.S. if you have a V8 for me, any V8, please let me know. Maybe we can stick it in there. Yeah, this modern lead-free petrol. Back in the day, these tailpipes would have been a nice light grey. Some imported desert dust everywhere. And all that firewood we took with. So refueling Flytrap's a bit of a problem. We had to move all the wood here. Wayne the pyromaniac made sure that it all went up in flames. Nothing came back. Yeah, the canvas canopy and this back door that I built in a video not long ago has certainly quickly gained some character. I'll stick a link here up on the screen if you want to go check out how I built this thing. Same thing with the sun visor here. It was shiny and brand new just a few weeks ago. Now it's blending in nicely. I'll stick another link here on the screen if you want to go check out how I built this contraption. The camera doesn't show how filthy this windshield is, covered in squashed greasy bugs. Well, at least it shows that there's still some nature life out there. You guys know what is the last thing that goes through a bug's mind when it hits the windshield, right? Well, if you don't, of course it says asshole. I'm going to take my soft canopy off before I give this old girl a wash. There's 2 puddles on top of the roof. It rained overnight. Proof that this fabric is indeed waterproof. Now this canvas is a little wet. I think I'm going to hang that out to dry before I fold it up. So this frame that I still need to paint at some point is held on with 6 bolts. So I'm just going to get them out and then I can take it off. Now, am I going to get this thing off here by myself? Probably not. But I'm going to give it a try. At least there's not any paint that we can scratch. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. It's actually not that heavy. If I'd taken off this back door first, it would have been easier. Yeah, let's go put it away. This was my house for the weekend. I had this tired old mattress here in the back of Crackpot. And I slept like a baby. No flapping tent noises because the wind was pumping. But as you can see, the dust still got in everywhere. So it was a rather gritty affair. And I could have lowered it if it was raining, which it didn't. Then of course, you just have to wake up rather slowly, otherwise you will wake up with a bang. I think next time I might actually make some sides for it here. And then the wind will be out completely. Because I did find, even though I parked it upwind, if I can put it like that, that the wind would still sneak in here and it was a little chilly. But I did alright. My house for the weekend. Yeah, so I've been driving behind this whole thing for many miles on this trip. And I've now come to the conclusion that I hate the look of the back end of this thing. I feel when I built it, I moved the side of the load bin in too much and this box is now too narrow. I don't like this big gap here. And I feel that this section should stop here. So this filler piece that I put in here on the fender was actually not necessary. This must end here. It's another case of doing it twice to get it nice. It'll be a big one, but it's doable. And yeah, you know, I got so many projects and I'm so good at dreaming up more work for myself. Where will I ever find the time to do this? It will be a rare event, but I do think the old girl deserves a wash now. Flytrap's first wash in years, but I think the old girl deserves it now. She took me to Pandemonium and back, round trip of about 1,500 kilometers without any hiccups. So I think a little TLC is in order. And that reminds me of something now. some of you guys have asked if the paint from my sign writing will stick to the linseed oil coating. This store has received a number of linseed oil coatings. So effectively the paint is on top of the linseed oil. So let's use the Scotch-Brite pad and see if it will come off. So as you can see, I'm rubbing quite hard and the paint is not coming off, so it works very well. It sticks like anything. It does need a little bit of scuffing, so I think sandpaper will be more effective. Let's try some 220 sandpaper. So yeah, as you can see, you have to sand quite a bit to get that one effect here. I think I'm going to mess with this a little bit and just scuff it a little bit so we can see what it looks like in the end. Okay, I've sanded it some to remove that crispness, that new look. I don't know, maybe I should sand it more, but let's give it a try with the linseed oil to see what it looks like, and always sand it more later. Okay, well, you can see like there and there it's a little bit worn. Maybe I should sand it more in the next round, but for now I'm going to leave it because the oil needs to dry first. Got old fly trap here under the roof out of the sun, and I'm just busy rubbing her down with some linseed oil. This thin linseed oil coating, or wipe down, is the rat-off version of a buff and polish. Except it's a lot quicker and a lot easier. I added this stupid little stainless steel pot just before we left on our road trip to keep the rain out of my air filter that's poking through the bonnet. But now it's become my secret weapon, man. I just turn it around and it becomes a supercharger. Some of you might remember that we tried towing fly trap behind my 78 F100 with an A-frame, and we really struggled. The wheels didn't want to stay centered and they kept kicking off to one side or the other. I suspected it was caster, and driving old fly trap over 700 kilometers to the event all by myself gave me ample time to think about it. And I've got it figured out. Okay, so check this. Here's our little truck. That line there represents caster angle. And we have a vertical line in the back there for reference. So stock caster angles is in the region of 3 to 7 degrees typically. I'm going to exaggerate things a little bit here for the sake of the exercise. So when I built fly trap, the first thing I did was to lower the front suspension some. And then I fitted bigger back wheels. Can you see what's starting to happen to that caster angle? And then on top of all that, I raised the back suspension. So you can see how radically the caster angle has changed by doing all those things. Now I'm not saying it's sitting exactly vertically now like we have here in the demo, but there's definitely been changes. It's not what it has to be, and it actually makes sense because our fly trap's quite a handful at speed. So I'm definitely going to have to see how much caster angle I can adjust back so that we can improve it, so that we can get a little bit more positive caster angle again. And not to scale or anything, but the second cutout here represents more accurately what flytrap looks like now. You can see there's some rake introduced to the frame. It doesn't sit parallel to the ground anymore. So something to keep in mind. If you mess with the stance of your vehicle and the rake of the frame, you're going to mess with the caster angle as well. If you introduce a 3-degree rake in your vehicle's frame, you will be losing 3 degrees of caster angle. Never too old to learn, eh? Oh, and here's something else that's new that I never showed you. New rear view mirrors. After I built that canopy, I realized I couldn't see very well behind me, so I made these rear view mirrors quickly. This is just a piece of bent pipe. Got a bracket that bolts to the door, and then it can hinge on this point here to swing in and out. And there's another hinge point here, so you can also adjust this like that. And it covers you in all directions. Yeah, 2 rat rod style, eh? This is just a piece of flat plate. And I weld it on a 6mm 1/4 inch round bar surround. And as for the mirror itself, which is not particularly clean at the moment, well, for that matter, nothing around here is ever particularly clean. I just went to my local glass shop, had them cut me this piece of mirror glass, and then I glued it in place with silicone. And that seems to have worked well, because after all the shaking and bouncing of the trip, it's still in place. So I got one here on the driver's side, duplicated here on the passenger side, and now I can see behind me very well. Well, here's looking at you, kiddo. Flytrap dressed in her absolute finest, which is not much, I know. Because I've been asked to show her at this local country fair we're having. Not a big event, not a car show, but I thought, let me support the local community, and maybe I'll buy the barefoot mechanic a beer or two if he behaves himself. So Wayne is supposed to be selling t-shirts at our local country fair. And it's only 11 o'clock in the morning.
But oops, some beer came along.
I am not sure that he's going to be selling any stickers.
No, the day is still young.
I know, that's the problem.
Whatever makes you happy, it just depends on you. So think a little bigger and dream